In today's video, I will be bringing together a distribution list of scammers. Then, every time I reply to any one of them, I copy in the whole list. I've done this before, and the results can be quite chaotically interesting. So, let's go scambaiting. Two small points of admin before we start. Firstly, if you have any questions about my scambaiting videos, please do check the description to see if there's already an FAQ containing my answer. These are the questions that are already answered at this point in time. And secondly, the emails in the video you're watching now split very quickly into multiple conversation threads. I'm going to be trying to present the conversation in those threads, so the timestamps will sometimes jump about a bit. Our story begins with a scam email opener, entirely in shouty caps, saying, "Your email account has been selected for a $3.5 million donation for charity. Please contact us for more information." So I replied, "Wow, how did this happen? I feel like I don't deserve such generosity, but how very kind of you. This has really warmed my heart. Thank you so much." Next, a longer scam email. Funds transferred to Benin Republic, cancer operation, orphanages, Pastor John, and an ATM card in my name, even though my name is something that is later asked for in the email, along with some other details you should never share with a stranger on the internet. I'm a busy man, so I just replied, "Wow." Another email, supposedly from World Bank headquarters, something about a sum of... Now, wait. Let's get this right. There's a $sign and USD and the word dollars and the word million. So this amount here is, I think, $5 million United States dollars. Or in other words, $5 trillion United States dollars. Pretty impressive. Anyway, apparently the IMF and World Bank selected 7 continents to benefit from this scheme. Is it really a selection if it's all of them? Let's discuss that in the comments. And this is money they're just giving away to individuals because COVID. Usual request for details of the sort you should never share with a stranger on the internet. Yours sincerely, Kristalina Georgieva. Now, if you think you've seen this name before, it's probably not the same scammer. It's just that scammers like to impersonate real people in public office. Kristalina Georgieva, sorry if I got your name wrong, is indeed the MD of the IMF, but I feel quite sure this email is not really from her. I replied, "Wow." Next up, another managing director of the IMF wants to help me get my long overdue payment. This is one of those scams designed to intercept an ongoing scam where the victim has already paid out some spurious fees. This email is supposed to be taking charge of the process, but of course it's just another scammer who wants to charge more spurious fees. To be paid in the form of World Remit or RIA transfer only. Oh, and in addition to those methods only, Steam Wallet gift cards or Google Play cards. I replied, "Wow." And so it went on. Dr. Johnson Bello from the United Bank of Africa, no wait, the Capital City Bank, or maybe the Federal Ministry of Finance, has $1.5 million for me. I replied, "Wow." This carried on and on and on. In previous videos, I added scammers to the distribution list as soon as I first replied, but this time I thought it might be more productive to wait and only add the ones that reply back to me. The first of which was a scammer masquerading as the CEO of Deutsche Bank. I added this scammer as the first member of the list, just a list of email addresses I kept in a text document. Next was the Global Intelligence Agency in collaboration with the IMF, on the list, and supposedly the Attorney General who had some story about a stranger turning up to collect my consignment box. Get on the list. At this point I had enough scammers on the list to start the group replies, and the process just comprises hitting reply on a scammer email, then copying and pasting in the other recipients from my text document. So in theory all scammers get to see that all scammers were copied in. And I wrote, "I'm confused, although it is always lovely to hear from you. Which one of you kind and beautiful people is actually dealing with this?" Now there's a name on my distribution list that you might recognise, and it's there for a reason. I quietly slipped Merton Snurden, another one of my scambaiting mailboxes, into the list. My reasoning was that if any of the scammers tried to reply all to the other scammers but snip me out of the conversation, I might still get a glimpse of some behind-the-scenes scammer-to-scammer discussion via Merton's mailbox. Nothing like that actually happened, and I get the impression that scammers are really kind of resistant to talking to each other. The fake Attorney General replied to say I was lucky to be one of the beneficiaries of whatever fund this was. I replied to all of the scammers, lucky is the right word, I am lucky to be one of the beneficiaries. The FBI department, no doubt on all account of the fake Attorney General, replied to say, "Were you not told that the FBI is monitoring all your conversations with the Attorney General in charge of your package worth $20.5 million because of those criminals that are extorting money from people in the name of collecting funds? Or do you think they are joking there? Follow the attorney's instructions and receive your package. We're the FBI, and we will make sure you receive your package as soon as possible." Is that what the FBI does? Do not be afraid. Meanwhile, do not communicate with anyone again except the attorney in charge of your package worth $20.5 million USD. Otherwise, you'll be charged for fraud. Serious stuff. I replied, "Is this why the other people are included in the conversation?" I love asking scammers why something is happening that actually I am making happen. Dr. Mike Donald, a completely different scammer, replied to say, "So, are you ready now?" I said, "Donald, for you I am always ready." Mrs. Rose Hamilton emailed me to say, "Intensive care unit, time getting closer, inheritance, vulnerable orphans, cancer, dead husband, and because I seem like a nice person, I'm chosen to be the beneficiary of..." What even is this amount? $25 billion US dollar, if I'm not mistaken. The subject of the emails was approach for the fact. So I replied to everyone, "Thank you, Rosie, so lovely to hear from you. May we now approach for the fact?" Meanwhile, attention, attention! Mr. Robert Johnson from the FBI, not the same FBI, has my consignment box funds. I replied, "Wow." And in fact, this kept on happening. So there are three things going on at this point. The initial scammer emails, to all of which I am now replying, mostly just wow. And then scammers replying to me, which earns them a place on the list, and then replies to the ongoing conversation from any scammer being copied to this ever-growing distribution list. So the other FBI, the first FBI, wrote to warn me, "Do not write or communicate with anyone again concerning your package. Choose a company among those listed companies below and tell us the one you want to carry out your delivery." Well, that's nice and clear, or you might think so. But I replied, copying everyone, "If I don't write or communicate with anyone again, how will you know my choice of courier company and cost? Also, why is there a choice of courier company and cost? I think you need to be more specific. Are you saying that I should stop writing and communicating with everyone, including yourself, or that I should stop writing and communicating with other people, in which case exactly who should I stop writing and communicating with?" The United Nations, just the singular, wrote to say, "If you are still interested in this ATM card fund, kindly reconfirm your direct information to us urgently to avoid wrong delivery such as OK. And ask for my personal details. You know, the kind of details you should never share with a stranger on the internet, including my nearest airport." I replied to them, as well as all the other scammers, to say, "It's lovely to hear from you. However, I have a question. Are you one of the people the FBI said I should not write or communicate with?" Dr. Mike Donald replied, first to try to advance his own scam a little bit, then in shouty caps, "Please, is faking all this to you telling you not to write me and using fake FBI?" I replied to Mike Donald, well, to everyone, in shouty caps, saying, "I do not understand." Mike Donald responded, economising on spaces, to say, "Not at all, sir, it can't be. Which FBI is that? Well, I just forward the message to you now." I thought I'd also try my own space-saving reply. "They said you were. How many FBIs are there?" "Okay." I don't enjoy that. Mike Donald explained, "See, my friend, I have time to be against anyone. But I had read all your messages with those guys, both the once claimed to be the FBI and United Nations for ATM delivery or all that, and find that none is relevant or capacity to do real thing with you. They all fakes." I replied to all, saying, "Thank you for confirming what I thought was the case." The Attorney General came back to say, "Do not write or communicate with anyone asking you to send your information or send money in the name of collecting funds, except me." I replied to all to ask, "OK, but why are there different courier companies? Can you choose one for me?" The FBI department said, "Stop asking silly questions. We're the FBI writing to you concerning your package worth $20.5 million. We want to make sure you receive your package. Respond to the attorney and receive your package in the next 24 hours. Time is money, eh? I replied to the list, which was still growing. Some of the others said you're not the FBI, so I have to ask you now, are you the FBI? Now, to save me from keeping on repeating it, all of my replies in this video always went to the whole of the list, which was continually growing, because all the while this was happening, more scammers were contacting me and getting my reply, "Wow." More scammers were replying back to that and going on the list, like Charles Feeney, who wants to make the world a better place by giving money to random individuals, in this case, me, to the tune of $12.9 million. The United Nations asked, "Can you please send your number now, let me call you." Now, I don't like talking to scammers on the phone, so I replied, "Sorry, I'm unable to speak on the phone at the moment, as there's a large crowd of people here, and all of them, without a single exception, are screaming. Is this not something we can resolve via email?" The United Nations replied, "Don't worry, you will receive your fund as soon as possible. All you need to do is send us your phone number now." I did something I quite like to do, read half the message and pretend it's the whole message. I said, "Thank you, I'm glad to hear this is now resolved, and I look forward to receiving the money. Will it arrive this afternoon?" They said, "OK, we won't call you right now. Please send your phone number." I replied, "I thought you confirmed this would not be necessary." "Are you going to send the phone number or not?" they demanded. "Perhaps when the screaming stops," I said. "Can you text me?" they asked. I replied, "I am texting you, via email." They asked, "Are you ready to receive your fund?" I said, "Yes, I am ready." Although perhaps we should check with the FBI people first, as they had views on whether I should write or communicate with people. That is, assuming they're the real FBI. Someone said they might not be. Anyway, yes, I am nearly ready. Charles Feeney, who of course had been witness to copies of all of my emails to all of the scammers, wanted to ask, "Are you stupid or what?" I replied, "No, I don't think I'm stupid. But if I was stupid, I would probably think I wasn't stupid. So now I'm just not sure." "Why do you ask?" The Texas Lottery Commission, who had been fairly quiet up to now, suddenly emailed me to tell me to chat with the bank via email to claim my price. I said, "Certainly I can. They're copied in on this email, as well as several previous messages, but they have not replied." Peggy Chan, a new scammer on the scene, who had originally emailed me to offer me 50%, which could be a lot or a little, so I'd asked 50% of what, now replied to talk about $6 million US, a deceased bank customer, no next of kin, and the unclaimed estate would revert to the government after 15 years, and she doesn't like to beat around the bush. I replied, "How delightful to hear from you. Yes, I have no time for beating or bushes either. However, as we have 15 years to resolve this, let's take things at a reasonable pace." The United Nations was back, saying, "Okay, please, we need to have your phone number now to make sure we talk with you." I replied, "I don't know if that will be very effective. The people are still here, and they have not stopped the noise." They said, "This is not your number." I said, "What's not my number?" They just replied, "If you are still interested of this ATM card fund, kindly reconfirm your directly information to us urgently to avoid wrong delivery such as OK." I asked, "Why do you need to know about airports?" They said, "So the delivery can start." I said, "There's no airport here." They asked, "So how can you receive your fund?" I suggested, "Can't you pop it in the post?" Citibank, or rather the scammer pretending to be Citibank, wrote to say, "We have received your email response and we herewith to inform you that FBI of United States of America doesn't have any right of transcation of fund. Wherever, you're advised to fill the bank wire transfer sheet that we sent to you and send it back. Also, arrange to send the $400 processing fee. And how do you want to send the $400 payment?" I replied, "To be completely honest with you, I don't want to send a $400 payment at all. Please deduct it from the winnings and send me the balance." Another scammer arrived, Dr. Owusu Afriye Okoto, who said, "I'm delighted to hear from you. I wish to invest a whopping sum of $40 million in your country." I replied, "It's also a delight from my side. How lovely that I will handle a whopping sum. I always wanted to. If I may, I'll just run this past some of the other mail recipients." And another scammer, David, or is it David Carl Lee, United Nation, consignment boxes, sharing of funds, I have to guarantee something, follow my instructions, OK. I replied, "I'm so delighted to hear back from you, and I will guarantee anything you might ask for, to the best of my intended purposes, of course." David asked me to confirm my details. You know the sort of details you should never share with a stranger on the internet. I replied, "Before we do that, I have a question. I had an earlier email from the FBI saying I should not write or communicate with some people. Do you happen to know if you're one of those people with whom I should not write or communicate? I suppose it's probably important. Also, some other people said the FBI is not real. Do you know anything about this?" David replied to tell me, "My dear owner, I am working with the government and there is some internet people that will be using some United States Forces Department name to scam some people daily basis. Please do not listen or reply to their mail because of you getting scammed. Please is a warning." Good to know. I actually love it when scammers are forced to tell me about scammers. I responded, "This is most interesting, exciting and also distressing news. How can I know which people I should listen to?" I've copied them all in on this message. Please advise. The FBI department interjected to say, "Why all these emails? Are you normal? What's wrong with you? Does it mean you can't follow our instructions? Stop forwarding all these rubbish emails to me. If you try it again, we'll track you and you will face the consequence. We'll not remind you again." Except I don't think they really mean that, because the email then went on to say, "Why all these emails? Are you normal? What's wrong with you? Does it mean you can't follow our instructions? Stop forwarding all these rubbish emails to me. If you try it again, we'll track you and you will face the consequence. We'll not remind you again." Okay, I heard you the first time. You don't need to keep on about it. Except apparently they did. "Why all these emails? Are you normal? What's wrong with you? Does it mean you can't follow our instructions? Stop forwarding all these rubbish emails to me. If you try it again, we'll track you and you will face the consequence. We'll not remind you again." The United Nations said, "I want you to send your number and we will deliver your fund to you." I replied, "I would prefer to communicate in written form. It's much more civilized than the phone." Dr. Mike Donald wrote, "What is all these you were sending me? Stop it." I said, "That's what the FBI people said. It is strange." Customer Care BK, a scammer who hadn't said much yet, chipped in to say, "That FBI is stupid and fake too." I said, "Thank you so much for confirming this. Please can you help me identify which persons are not stupid and or not fake?" Dr. Mike Donald said, "I don't think you're ready. If you're ready sending all things to me, and is like you are sending same to me to many people, so stop it. The Deutsche Bank scammer said, I really don't understand what you're talking about. Deutsche Bank has nothing to do with scam. We don't run scam here, okay? I said, okay. But now something interesting starts to happen, and I only ever see it when I do this group list email thing. Some of my outgoing emails were bouncing, which I think indicates that the mailbox has been closed, or maybe just that the scammers have blocked me. Rosie Hamilton said, who are those you contacted? That is not my bank. Why did you contact them? I replied, your question is a perplexing one. I've been trying to work this out also. A new scammer arrived. Fund Release Office, Compensating Fund, IMF, $4.5 million, real and legit, fee of $350, MoneyGram. I replied, firstly, may I say what a delight it is that you've stepped in to take control of this matter. I've been in communication with 16 other people about this, and frankly, not one of them is being very helpful. I hope that you'll be the one to resolve this. And another one, Paul Allen, CIMB Malaysia, $8.7 million, overdue payment. I said, thank you so much for writing back to me regarding the payment. I'm sad to say that I recently learned some of the people I've been communicating with regarding this matter are stupid and fake, but I have high hopes for you. I also wrote a whole load of other replies to my list of scammers that I've had to prune out of this video, or else it would just go on for hours. But Charles Feeney had had about all he could take and wrote, may death kill you. I said, what an odd thing to say. Fun fact, when I was younger, I was nipped in an intimate area by a slightly radioactive crustacean. The outcome of this event was surprising. It turns out that now, death is the only thing that can kill me. The FBI department wrote, stop responding to the whole people emailing you except we the FBI so that we will finalise this transaction and deliver your package to you. Follow our instructions henceforth and receive your package worth $20.5 million. Get back to us immediately. Stop wasting our time again. I thought this might be a good time to recall an earlier conversation fragment, and I asked, can you clarify why Customer Care BK said you were stupid and fake? It seemed rude to me. Rosie Hamilton said, I will advise you to contact my attorney directly. He will assist you with all the necessary requirements in having my funds transferred to you. His name is Mark Fell and he is based in London, UK. I said, thanks Rosie, I will add both of his emails to the list just to be doubly certain he gets the message. Mark Fell replied with a standard bit of scam boilerplate on behalf of Rosie Hamilton. I replied, I'm a bit confused about whether I should be contacting you or Mr. Mohammed Jamal Ahmad, as detailed in the subject of this email. Perhaps you would clarify. Also, I don't know whether this relates to the business I've been discussing with the other people, so I've copied them all in, just in case. This demonstrates another lovely, chaotic feature of this big list technique. The sole reason that this Ahmad name was even there in this conversation thread is because the replies to all mean it's very likely an individual scammer will reply to an email with a subject line that's originally from a different scammer altogether. This makes for some delicious confusion and crossovers. Mark Fell replied, do not contact any Mr. Mohammed Jamal Ahmad. They are liars and are the right person to contact. They snoop into Mrs. Rosie Hamilton email because she's not feeling well and she's in the hospital and do not know that they've hacked into her email and they are not playing tricks on your trying to get some money from you. Those are scammers. I repeat, do not have anything to do with them, okay? They are fake. Mrs. Rosie Hamilton directed you to me herself. You must listen to her and not does people don't ever write to them again, okay? This scammer had done the classic accidental negation thing, saying they are liars and are the right persons to contact. I asked, I'm finding your replies a little confusing. If they are liars, why are they also the right persons to contact? That doesn't make any sense. Can anyone else help on this? Rosie Hamilton replied, I only said you should contact Mr. Mark Fell. This is the only person I asked you to contact, no other person but Mr. Mark Fell, and his email address is this. Contact the not him. Okay, I'll continue to contact the not him. So I asked, so who is Mr. Mohammed Jamal Ahmad? And why did I contact him? A new player entered the scene. Hikmet Erset from United States Supreme Court. Just the singular United State. I mean, you can't get much more united than that. And I think we'll read that one next because it's sort of weird. But first, an answer to one of your frequently asked questions. This time, a twofer. Why do scammers ask for seemingly quite small amounts for their advance fees? And why do scammers promise such very large rewards? Wouldn't it be more plausible if they toned it down a bit? These two questions are intrinsically linked, and they both become easier to understand when you look at the anatomy of a typical scam. If the scammer succeeds and the victim follows the script, it goes something like this. There's an initial setup phase where the scammer gets the victim on the hook by promising riches and requesting personal details. This makes it all seem like it's official and moving along. Next, the scammer will ask for a fee, but if the victim pays, things don't move on because there's nothing to move on to. There is no fund, no deceased estate or dying widow's charitable bequest. There is no John Warosa legacy box of cash disguised as inconspicuous gold bars. The scammer won't send the millions of billions of dollars US dollar because they don't exist. So the scammer invents a new problem that must be overcome, a new fee or tax or bribe or documentation charge that must be paid, and it's only a small amount more. And around we go, again and again. It's called the sunk cost fallacy. The victim won't walk away because the sum of the small fees paid so far feels like it shouldn't be wasted. It's an emotional investment as well as a monetary one. And because of the other factor, which is that the prize, supposedly waiting at the end of this journey, is so very big and shiny. It feels like it's going to be worth the effort in the end. So a big reward at the end of the path, and only a few tiny steps of cost along the way to get it. And the victim keeps trudging on, except the victim isn't really on the path to anywhere, because the scammer ensures these steps are always leading in a circle. Anyway, back to the scambaiting. Hikmet Erset wrote, "I am Hikmet Erset from United States Supreme Court, and I know this email may sound strange to you. I mean, really, it's not that surprising. But nevertheless, am here to make a point to you, which will be the secret you have expected or wished to know about the difficulties and upfront fees which always pops up whenever you are about to receive your previous transaction. You have paid uncountable and endless fees to different people, offices, banks, company, etc., in the name of receiving your promised funds, but it always turns out to be story after story, and fees after fees, whenever it is time to receive those funds. I'm here to tell you that this office has been the authority behind those upfront fees, and you need to read carefully to know our reason for making you pay upfront fees before you could receive your legitimate funds. I want to make it clear to you that 3% of all the transactions you have dealt with are legitimate. We know the actual amount for each fund, and knowing the importance of tax in the States, we secretly set up request for upfront fees as a medium to collect tax on those funds before we could allow them to release those funds to you. Request for transfer fees, certificate fees, clearance fees, customs fees, etc. are just the medium we set up with those people, offices, banks, company, etc. to collect payments from you until you have paid the actual percentage tax of your fund before we could release your funds. Normally, you don't have to pay a dime to receive any of your promised funds, if not for what I have just explained. So just to be clear, this is another one of these scams to try to hook victims who've already paid out fees to scammers, to sort of rekindle or hijack that sunk cost fallacy cycle, based on the story that a tiny portion of those fees already paid were legit and part of some secret plan by the United States, singular, Supreme Court. I decided to latch onto one tiny fragment of the email, the statement, "Normally you don't have to pay a dime," and replied, "That's good to know, because dimes don't exist." The scammer, Sir Hikmet apparently, I must have missed the announcement of that knighthood, immediately replied, "It exists, and I will deliver the 8.5 million I have here. Do you have any tax agreement letter?" I said, "Dimes do so not exist. I'm not going to argue about this. What is a tax agreement form, and with whom would it agree?" They replied, "With Supreme Court of Law, and once you obtain it at rate of $100, you will receive your fund quick." I answered, "I believe the FBI people are already dealing with that, if they are genuine." The scammer said, "And the FBI you're believing are so fake. Supreme is genuine, and you will receive your fund once you obtain your tax agreement." I asked, "If I was to ask the FBI if Supreme is genuine, what would they tell me?" They answered, "They'll tell you it's real if it's real FBI." I said, "Okay, I've copied them in on this conversation. Let's see what they say. Please stand by." 1 minute later, the scammer came back with, "Supreme will only need $100 from you to get your delivery done." I said, "Please stand by." Then another minute later, they said, "I'm here. Let's see what they say." Less than half an hour later, they sent me just a question mark. A bit aggressive, I thought, and I have a rule: respond to aggression not with compliance, but with righteous indignation. So I said, "They have not yet replied. Perhaps they're busy. May I please request that you exercise a little patience?" Surprise, surprise, this scammer was super eager to rush things along though, and said, "Let's get this done if they're not replying. Get the $100, let me obtain the tax agreement and deliver." Mark Fell interrupted to ask, "Did you send money to them?" I said, "Not yet. A confusing matter has arisen regarding the Supremes. I've not sent money to anyone, but I'm not sure who you mean, as there are 18 people involved now." Rosie Hamilton also asked, "Did you send them money today?" I said, "Some of the others have replied. Something about money and scammers. I haven't read it yet, though." The FBI people are curiously silent on this matter. It's most perplexing. And Mark Fell then said, "Hope you did not send any other scammers money today." Other scammers? The United Nations said, "I see you don't want to receive your fund." I answered, "I do want to receive it, but it's unclear to me whether it will come from the FBI, the United Nations, or the Supremes. I've been trying to resolve this for days now, but you keep me hanging on." Sir Hikmet asked, "Have you got the card?" Of course, asking me if I'd purchased the gift card for payment of the supposed fee, but I took the opposite direction and said, "The card's not here yet. When did you send it?" The scammer said, "Go get me Apple gift card of $100 and send." I replied, "Am I right in thinking you work for the Supremes?" Surely you have more important things to do with your time than play games from the App Store, like some sort of small boy. I'm starting to think I'll try something new. The scammer answered, Supreme, have you got the $100 Apple gift card? I answered, I don't even really like apples. This is ridiculous. Some things you never get used to. They said, get Google Play gift card. I said, those are for games and music, which are not my favourite things. Much more suited to small boys. Tell me honestly, are you a small boy? They answered, no. Then go to any Western Union near you and send the $100. I said, on a Sunday? You think it's automatically sunshine? They said, OK, maybe tomorrow morning. I replied, whatever. This whole process has been nothing but heartaches. They said, it's not. Had it you will just walk to the store and get Google Play gift card, I will deliver today. I thought I'd try a different angle. I had an idea. Take the $100 out of the 50 million and send me the remaining 49 million and change. Simple. I don't know why you didn't already suggest this. But they had the answer ready. Dime can't be deducted out of the fund until it's delivered to you. I replied, firstly, as we already discussed, dimes do not exist. Secondly, what do you mean can't? That doesn't sound very supreme at all. Exactly how supreme are you? Expressed as a percentage. The scammer just replied, get the fee, let me deliver your package. I replied, and remember all of these replies are copied to all of the scammers on the list. This doesn't answer my question. Can any of the others help, please? The supreme is being less than completely supreme. They said, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to deliver your package. All you need to do is get me Google Play gift card of $100 and send that so I will deliver your package. I answered, this is all just very disappointing. I thought you would be able to resolve this situation being the supreme, but all you do is demand gift cards for small boys. They argued, it's not for small boys. Just want you to obtain your tax agreement so that I will deliver. I said, I can't believe this conversation has gone on as long as this and you've not suggested Steam gift cards or Bitcoin. Almost immediately they replied, OK, can you get Steam Wallet gift cards so that I will obtain the tax agreement and proceed to your home address? I said, no, I can't do that. They asked, why? I said, I don't want to. They asked, can you send Bitcoin or are you not interested in receiving your money? I said, no, I can't do that either. Look, how about if I send you half the fee and you send me half the money? Can it be divided like that? They said, yes, get $50 Steam Wallet and send. I replied, OK, if the fund can be divided, then divide off $100 to pay the fee and send me the balance. But they just pushed back. Get me $50 Steam Wallet and let's get this done now. I asked, what about if I get $25 and you send me a quarter of the fund? They said, the choice is yours. Get the $25 and send. I said, what about $10 for 1/10 of the fund? The scammer replied, OK, get the $10 and send. I asked, what can I get for $5? They just said no. I asked, $6? The scammer said no, from $10 up. I said, $6.50, final offer. They said, OK, send it. I replied, OK, I'll send it to the FBI people first so they can check it's not fake. And here's where the story ends, for now at least, with a rather deflated little OK from Sir Hikmet, or perhaps I should say Sir not getting paid any fees in this video. But this list is still a living thing, and I'm still adding scammers to it and still doing the reply all thing. Some scammers continue to fall off as they close their mailboxes or as they get closed for them, or they block me. But we're not finished with this yet, and I'll hopefully have a follow-on episode featuring some of the same scammers and some new ones sometime in the future. For now though, thanks for watching, stay safe from scams, and I hope to see you again soon.